What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to try to attempt to remove this lens and put a bigger field of view on, hopefully. So first things first, we're going to have to get the heat gun out and we're going to have to loosen up this glue from the factory. And I'm choosing to use some metal pliers here, but you can use plastic vise or whatever you prefer. This is just going to help me hold this thing down so it's not flopping in the wind and I can, pry this thing off. So if you do attempt to do this, I would recommend using some like flat-headed pliers or something that you can grab a hold of the old lens. Just kind of like twist it off. Opposed to using like a knife or something that, you can damage the sensor. You don't want to do that. Because then you got to buy a whole new DJI 04 Lite because they don't make an aftermarket camera. So again, twist this thing off like I'm doing here and it'll just pop off. As long as you give it some heat and warm up that old glue, it'll pop right off, no problem. And there's the old lens. No problem, just came right off. So next step is we're going to clean up this old glue that's on the old camera. We don't want to scratch this lens, so we're going to be very careful. I got a brand new blade. I used a utility blade in this case. I got a 3D printed mount that I'm going to use for this aftermarket lens that I'm going to use. I'm using the Razor lens. I'll show you guys in a minute here. But this 3D printed part, I printed in black. That way you don't see none of the edges. You don't see the edges anyways, but this little piece right here came in handy. So we're using this analog camera, or lens rather. It's a Foxeer 2.1 millimeter. I had this thing laying around, so I figured I'd give it a shot. So I already removed, look at how small this sensor is here compared to the 04 Lite. I already removed the IR filter because you're going to want to do that or it's just going to be all pink. You're not going to be able to see the video clearly. I also 3D printed this one as well in a different color just to see how well it would work. And I'm just going to go ahead and stay with the black one for obvious reasons. So this is where you're going to want to take your time. This way you don't scratch the sensor, because once you scratch the sensor, it's over. I decided to use a Q-tip right here to kind of clean the debris off of the sensor. You could also use like an air canister or something of that sort, like to clean like a keyboard or whatnot. I just want to really make sure I don't leave any little hairs behind from the Q-tip. Because once I glue this lens on, it's going to be a pain in the ass if I left a little hair behind. Looks good to me. Let's see how this little 3D printed part works. Now I 3D printed this piece in PETG. So right here I'm just showing you I took off the IR filter. It was kind of a pain in the ass. You do got to heat it up again. I would heat this up because it's kind of glued in like 4 corners. I tried to pry it off without heating up and just kind of like broke off the corner of the glass. You definitely don't want to chip this thing up and get a piece of glass in the eye. So make sure you wear safety gear and stuff like that, guys. I just want to clean up this lens before I put the goggles on and test it, see if I can't focus it in. I wasn't able to capture the goggles view in this. For some reason it didn't record. So I wasn't able to get this video for you guys, but in the flight video coming up, you're going to see pretty much everything you need to see. So yeah. What I'm going to do here is just get this thing glued onto the old camera. And now we'll get this thing focused in with the that little ring there. I end up gluing it to the little housing that I made. That way I can just screw the camera in and focus it nicely. Now that I got the camera lens right where I want it, I'm going to be gluing this thing on now. So I decided to use some B7000. This stuff works great. It's got a really thin nozzle on it. And you just want to be careful that you don't cross over the sensor, because you'll leave like the stringiness of the glue. You know, it'll cross over and you'll never be able to get it off. So be sure you go around the edge if you do this, and don't cross over the IR sensor. Don't cross over the sensor with the glue, and you'll be golden. Just test fitting this part, that way I know exactly how it's going to sit before I glue it. And once we get this thing glued, I'm going to strap some rubber bands around it and hold it all together and let it dry for about 12 hours or so. So once this thing's all dried up, I'm going to get this thing in the air. So once I get this housing right where I need it, I'm just going to put some rubber bands around it like I said, and we'll secure this thing as good as I can, and we'll just let it set up from there. But I did a little additional glue around the outside edges just to make sure it adhered really good. So yeah, this is going to be a great little addition. I'm hoping this lens focuses in real good, but only time will tell. I'll have to do some testing and fly this thing around a bit. Now this part here is where I was telling you guys, I just glued the focusing ring on the actual lens. That way I can just screw the camera in and out so I can focus it real easy like that. So it's not a bad idea if you happen to attempt this and your new lens has a focusing ring. Just glue that to the actual housing. That way you can screw this thing in and out. That way you can focus it, and then just put some glue right where you have it focused, and you'll be good to go. Now I'm glad I did try this. The 04 Lite wasn't terrible. As far as the quality was there. It's just the field of view was like zoomed in way too far. There's no field of view at all. But yeah, this is this thing setting up, so let's get this thing in the air and see how it looks. Okay, we got a little bit of jello. So the image is actually pretty good. Yeah, we got less jello, which is cool. So I like the colors, it's very vibrant, but on the edges it's a little bit lighter. Let me go over somewhere where you can actually see it a little bit better. Yeah, we know. If I come over to the tennis courts over here, you can kind of see it on the edges. Yeah, see that? It's a little pinkish on the edges. Bottom left and bottom right corner. I think it's just the lens itself, because when I've flown this in analog, it was kind of like that too. But you don't see it as much because the analog is so choppy and blurry. But seeing how this isn't going to be like a cinematic drone for me, it's just going to be more for flying. And the field of view is way better than the stock 04 camera. So I'm actually pretty happy with this. Like I said, I'm not going to be using this to like take videos, and I mean this is basically just for me flying. I'm okay with this. I do have a Nebula Pro lens and a walk snail lens, brand new. I can try that, but for now I think I'm just going to leave this on here, and I'm probably going to make like a nice mount for it and use this for now because this is pretty good. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Is this good enough? Or you think I should try a different lens? And I actually, the 3D printed piece that I used to hold the lens is not visible actually in the edges, which is pretty cool. Kind of happy about that. But yeah, the camera angle is like almost like 10 degrees at the max right now. So you can see the props in view right now. But the last flight I just did, it was like 20 degrees, maybe 15 degrees. And you couldn't really see the props, which is cool. It is a little windy today. Not terrible, but you know, these lighter whoops definitely get pushed around a little bit. Let's go up a little higher, see what it looks like. Yeah, it's a little darker in the center, and the color isn't really consistent from left to right, if you know what I mean. It looks very vibrant in the middle. Alright, let's go ahead and land this. 4 minutes, that's not bad. Almost 5 minutes. So in conclusion, if you guys are looking to make this lens swap, whether it's this lens or a different lens that you want to try, I would say go ahead and try it, because it's very easy to take this lens off and glue this new one on. As long as you're able to adjust the lens, like screwing in and out, you'll be fine. If you're going to try to use like the 03 lens, you could probably make it work, but you're going to have to do some work to get it, you know, going. You know, I'm pretty excited about this, so I'm going to make a nice mount for it, and I'll probably make it in the next video here, so you'll probably see this one without the mount, but I want to share this with you guys, my experience with it. And I hope you guys like this video. Smash that like button, subscribe, and see you guys in the next one. Peace.